Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie Albright, owner of Bright Moments. We are an online business management and virtual assistance company. So, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about client onboarding and specifically what you should include or think about including as part of your welcome packet. Now, I know I'm talking about welcome packet, I'll probably mention it several times. This really could be one of several containers. You could have an online portal where you house all of these details. You could have a folder or online section of your Google Drive, Dropbox folder. Highly recommend Dropbox instead of Google Drive for several reasons. Or you could have just a document, which it could be a beautiful Canva document. Highly recommend a PDF or something that is a forced copy document. Now, some of you might have things in your welcome packet that you want your clients to fill out. And so in that case, you might need to use Adobe or again, having access to a Dropbox folder so that you have fillable documents or PDFs in addition to the other additional information that is just something for them to read or to have in their back pocket. So I recommend that you force copy documents or have a PDF for one main reason. Number one is that you don't want to open up your Google Drive or even your Dropbox folder for someone to go in and alter your template or your main structure. You don't want them to go in and change anything that you've set up because you never know. People like to customize things, and so if it's a forced copy, then they can't do that. If it's a PDF, again, they wouldn't be able to do that as well. All right, so those are the different forms of or containers that you could have your welcome packet in. And again, you can name it whatever you'd like. And this is just all part of onboarding. You want them to have a great experience. You've nurtured them along the way, and now they've said yes. You want to continue nurturing them and showing that you really care about the success of their program or what you have to offer, and you're working with them. Okay, so first of all, you really want to have a greeting. You want to have something in this packet that is really just straight from the heart, that you're genuinely happy that they're part of your program or your offer, that you are excited to know them and to get started, and a little bit about what's included. So this is where you could have kind of a table of contents, if you will, or just a long form letter from you to them, explaining what is in this packet or this portal. Then you want to go over again, they've said yes, but you still want to include some of the details of what they've purchased from you, so that they know kind of what to expect, those package details. And then you want to move on to communication. How do you want them to communicate with you? How will you communicate with them? Your business hours, your response time, you know, important details about communication, just so that everything is set up front and they have somewhere to reference when things kind of are outliers, right? So if they have what they deem as an emergency, that they know how you want them to communicate that to you. Okay, so then you can kind of go into what else to expect from you, any sort of follow-ups or, the getting started. So if it's a group program, kind of the details of where you're meeting and how they access it, what they need to do beforehand, what they're going to be doing during that. Again, part of this could be part of the package details or your offer details, but sometimes people need to draw it out a little bit more and have more space for that. If you haven't covered it already, which typically, I only mention this because you should basically, this is kicked off from them saying yes and paying typically, but I know that some of you have structured your billing in a little different way. So maybe they've put a deposit down. So then you can explain like the rest of the billing details. And then I always recommend having a checklist form in there. So basically, it's covering everything that you've said, kind of a have you read this and checking off, but also what other details do you need them to do or things to have in place before either your next conversation or the first group meeting or what have you. So I would just literally include a space for them to check it off because if they've printed it off or they use a digital planner or something, they can literally go through and read what you want them to read, check off on that, and then you have the what's next kind of as an option to kind of go beyond what to expect. Then you can show what's next and make sure that they have the next step available for them so that they're not waiting for the next conversation, that you have given them something to do for moving forward. Now, the last piece that I always try to include is an FAQ of sorts. So, what common questions come up in the onboarding process for past clients? So, we're all learning, and as we fine tune our systems and we move forward and grow, things will come up. And so, if you have those in mind, or you can start collecting those, you can include the FAQ as part of the welcome packet as well. All right, so those are the pieces of a welcome packet. Of course, you can make it beautiful with your branded colors and fonts and designs, pictures as well. That makes it a little bit of more of a personal touch. If it's an online portal, you can do some of that as well, and something that they can click through. So if you have like Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific, or different portals that way. Um, Also, to keep in mind, if you do something pretty, I would say, more vanilla style, where it's just cut and dry document, that's fine too. But just keep in mind when you make changes, if it's fully designed or cut and dry, pretty black and white, that you keep things in mind for making those changes and that you plug it in where it needs to go. So if you are sending the welcome packet one by one, that you know that you have the current file, of course. Also, if it's an automated experience for your client, so let's say it's being sent through your CRM or through like MailChimp or something, that you have the updated file there so that you don't run into any snafus. And then the last thing that I wanted to say about a welcome packet is make sure that you over communicate certain pieces like your the ways to get in touch with you, next steps. Make sure that that's really clear because you don't want to leave them hanging. You'd hate to have spent all this time nurturing them and making them uh, feel a certain way and to say yes and to get started only to kind of fall flat for the onboarding. You want to make sure that it's a seamless process. And so it could be various workflows and ways of doing that for depending on your business. And of course, if you have a product-based business, this is really not going to apply too much, but think about what other onboarding, if you will, for selling a product would be. And that is really the follow-up of them purchasing a product. For anyone, clients or customers who have purchased from you, even if it's a small amount, will most likely purchase from you again if they have a good experience. And this is really the starting point for that good experience. So let me know in the comments or to get in touch with me through email if you have any questions about what else to include in the packet. Or if I left something off, let me know so that I can include it for all of you. Thanks.